A new one, Rip. Every time Ryan Seacrest and Ripa criticized producers on Live, even when cue cards didn't work and awkward situations occurred. The hosts of Live with Kelly and Ryan have made a sport out of publicly criticizing their producers for embarrassing mistakes and difficult situations. Executive producer Michael Gelman has to be the most well-known backstage employee of Live. Since the 1980s, the 61-year-old has worked as a producer at ABC, where Live is based. He even owns the Guinness World Record for having created the most morning talk show episodes. Since the days of the late Regis Philbin, Gelman, as he is affectionately called on the show, has taken the brunt of the show's hosts. He once described how the show functions as follows: they are a husband and wife, and that is the true notion of the program in a symbolic sense. They are discussing about what's happening while holding their coffee mugs, and just like any good family, they occasionally find themselves at each other's throats. Kelly recently claimed that one of her talk show producers rigged her on-air competition against co-host Ryan. In order to get ready for their big award event, the celebrities had been participating in Oscars countdown games. Around halfway through Wednesday's broadcast, Kelly, 52, and Ryan, 48, were talking about some of the things that were still to come, like the Oscars-themed game. Towards the conclusion, the soap show alum then called a producer off stage out. "Let me tell you something," she said as she crossed her legs and addressed everyone. "The trick is on. I'll holler at you why the fix is in." Leaning forward over the desk, Kelly continued, "I see his card," she said. David Mullen was rambling in the corridors. "He's been producing this, and he's standing there, checking over his notes. Ryan wins," it says on the back of the card. It was later discovered that the sign had two sides, with Ryan wins on one and Kelly wins on the other. In a later part of the show, Kelly and Ryan really played the game. It had the celebs guessing the number of times past Oscars hosts had done so after being told the names of those hosts. In the end, Kelly triumphed rather than Ryan. Just a few days previously, Kelly made fun of the show's producer as she got up from her chair to get a prop to act out a scene. The hosts began the evening by recalling past Zoom meetings and online get-togethers. Kelly discussed the feedback problems that the morning talk show had when executive producer Gelman tried to transmit the program on Zoom. Due to the technical limitations of staging a program through video chat, the Live host admitted that she would troll him continuously for his poor direction. "He would hold up a cue card when he wanted us to move on," she continued. She put the card close to the camera lens to show what that looked like. It filled most of the frame and was completely out of focus. "I would respond, 'I can't see that, sweetie,'" Kelly admitted as the studio audience laughed. Last month, Kelly was upset with Gelman and threatened to hurt him off camera if he persisted in asking the same question. Kelly vented about the number of tasks she needs to perform in the opening scene. She eventually began to have trouble speaking, and the producer tried to assist her. "Try to speak through it, but no, we gotcha," Gelman stated off camera. She turned to face Gelman rather than Ryan and threatened him off camera. Ryan questioned as they all laughed, "Do you require any knives?" "I have a set of knives," Kelly assured him. "Trust me, I've thought about it." Actor Kal Penn admitted that playing King George in Hamilton would be his ideal part when he visited the musical. As a result, they invited him to audition live on air. Kelly stepped forward and said, "Gelman, bring us the mic." Instead, producer Gelman threw the microphone, and Ryan stepped in front of Kelly to try to protect her from a possible injury. Ryan started waving his finger at the camera while Kelly moved forward and mimed some karate moves towards Gelman. He snarled, "That's not going to be an enjoyable meeting after the show," and then sat down. Kal briefly displayed his singing talent before Kelly grabbed the microphone and redirected it at Gelman. Kelly doesn't always just lash out. Early this year, while introducing replacement co-host Jenny Mollen, Ryan had his own opportunity to snark at Gelman. The producer interrupted Jenny as she was explaining to her audience how she met her husband to make sure Ryan understood that the man in issue was Jason Biggs, who plays the spouse in American Pie. Ryan laughed and replied, "Yeah, I know Jason Biggs." To the producer, "If you just give us a second to settle down, we'll get there," he continued, turning to the workers off camera. Following that, the American Idol host addressed the crowd and said, "We are, of course, referring to Jason Biggs. Quite well known." Jenny made a side comment about never having co-hosted as the audience applauded. According to Ryan, Live says whatever they want because they don't have a script. Ryan pursued Gelman one more after the producer fooled him with a headstand. Gelman effortlessly climbed into a headstand while participating in a program about yoga poses, whereas Ryan found it difficult to maintain his equilibrium on his head. He sighed, "Erg. It is not something I can accomplish," and stood up once again. Ryan gasped, "Oh my God," as he watched Michael balance himself perfectly on his head. He moved quickly to his colleague and pretended to push and knock him over.